Why is it that 97.8% of people fail to accomplish the things they need to do to be happy? Hey, I'm Jonah Meyer, and this is The Hunt for Happiness. This channel is dedicated to helping you become the person that you want to be. Oh, and I hate it when people ask me to like and comment before the video even starts, so I'm definitely not going to do that. In fact, do not smash that like button. Do not click subscribe. Thank you. What is that thing that you've always wanted to do? Is it to dominate the stock market, to write a book, learn to play the kazoo, get a six-pack? Almost everyone has had goals like these, but if you haven't, watch this video and you'll be inspired by the 4 simple but unknown steps to live a better life. We've all got goals, but the vast majority are not going to succeed. So in order to explain why the vast majority of people don't actually succeed in attaining those lofty goals, dreams, and aspirations that they have, I need a few seconds to explain a chemical in your brain called dopamine. In your brain, dopamine is the reward chemical. It's a neurotransmitter that sends a message that this is good and pleasurable and I should keep doing this. Dopamine floods into the brain every time you get a notification. And it is extremely addictive, i.e. the name dope. Dopamine, chemically and structurally, is very similar to a lot of extremely addictive drugs. And that's why so many people can't stop scrolling on TikTok, can't stop watching Game of Thrones, and can't stop playing Candy Crush. It's a dopamine addiction. Now with addictive drugs, the more you use, the more you lose the ability to feel good from those drugs. And it's the same thing with dopamine. The more you get rushes of dopamine flooding through your neurotransmitter system, the more you're going to lose that sensitivity to the dopamine. And it's going to make you no longer feel good from doing the same things that made you feel good before. The endless scrolling has made us numb to the reward chemical because things like Netflix, Instagram, TikTok, and video games, they all flood us with huge, intense rushes of dopamine all the time. They make you feel good in the short term and bad in the long term. On the other hand, doing productive things like practicing the kazoo or working on a business idea you have release only a healthy and moderate amount of dopamine. And this, because we've become numb to it, will not be enough to make us feel good and have the desire to keep going and keep practicing over time. Unless we change something. So what does all this mean for you? It means that the reason that it's almost impossible for you to succeed is that your motivation and reward system mentally is all messed up. So we've got to do a brain hack. Brain blast. Here's 4 simple steps for you to become part of the 1% of people who actually succeed. Step 1, smash that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. It really helps with the algorithm. Now that that selfless shameless. Now that that shameless plug is over, let's get into the real content. Step 1, part 1. Dopamine flush. For 24 hours, do a hard stop on all things that give you an intense rush of dopamine. This means going on Instagram, this means eating junk food, or watching intense amounts of TV. What this is going to do is going to allow you to start regaining your dopamine sensitivity. And with dopamine sensitivity regained, those healthy, moderate boosts of dopamine that you get when you do something productive that moves you forward, you're going to start feeling that little rush and it's going to start motivating you to keep going. And this is the secret to motivation. I really can't understate how powerful this dopamine flush is. Before this quarantine, I was living right. I was focused on creating content and building my YouTube channel, which is my #1 goal. I was working out 4 to 5 times a week and I was eating healthy. I was just doing all the right things, it felt like. I was waking up early, making my bed, I was doing all the good stuff. Somehow, 2 weeks into quarantine, I found myself straight up eating 7 frozen burritos at a time, scrolling on TikTok till 3 in the morning, and just generally not doing any of the right things that I had been before. I wasn't working out. I wasn't working on my YouTube channel. In fact, I was basically just playing Slither.io. You know what I'm saying? I was straight playing mini games on my phone. I couldn't even think. It was like there was this fog inside my mind that didn't allow me to do what I knew that I needed to do. And that's when I came across the concept of resetting my dopamine sensitivity. So for one day, I woke up and I didn't look at my phone first thing. In fact, I completely restricted use of my phone all day. I didn't eat junk food. I didn't play any video games. What I did is I spent my time doing some chores and I spent my time reading and just resetting my brain for that entire day. And yes, it was boring, and yes, it was slow, and yes, it was difficult, but eventually the day ended, and the next day, I can tell you the results were incredible. For the first time in 2 weeks, ever since the quarantine hit, I felt like I could think clearly. Which brings us to the next part of step 1. Step 1, part 2. Now you've got to start to maintain that dopamine sensitivity. You need to avoid all types of high dopamine activities like endless scrolling on TikTok, like eating 8 frozen burritos, or like sitting there and just binge watching Breaking Bad or The Office. You need to keep those to a minimum. They're not horrible. You don't need to cut them out completely, but you need to start focusing up and keeping those at a low level. That brings us to step 2. Cut out all distractions. This step can only really properly be done once you've done the dopamine flush. But when you practice your kazoo, you need to be fully in it, man. You need to be 100% engaged for the period of time that you are going to work on whatever it is that you need to work on to become happy. When you're working towards that thing, you're not going to be going and getting snacks. You're not going to be going to the bathroom 900 times. You're not going to be texting anyone or FaceTiming anyone or looking at your emails. None of that kind of stuff. You are 100% engaged. I'm the king of this, man. I am literally the king of being distracted. And my number one thing is, I should go top off my coffee. I don't want to run out of coffee, man. And what do? 931 times I go and I get up and I top off my coffee. And the whole reason for this is just because I like to have something to sip on while I'm working, while I'm being creative, while I'm practicing whatever I'm practicing. What I've done to remedy this so I'm not getting up all the time and cutting off my productive flow, I bring 2 cups of coffee and a huge water bottle with me. That way the entire time I'm working, whether it's 2 hours or 4 hours or 10 hours, I'm going to have something that I can sip on and just allow me to keep being focused that entire time. And it's a game changer, bro. That's the key to being productive. And when you are productive and you are quick, efficient, and consistent, that's the key to actually becoming one of the 1% of people who succeed in whatever they're trying to do. And once I started doing this, I was able to make more progress than I ever thought possible. And I realized now that the 3 keys to being efficient and becoming part of the 1% who succeeds is being quick, efficient, and consistent in doing whatever you need to do. Comment down below what your most common distractions are. I'd love to kind of see what everyone struggles with. Step 3, narrow your focus. The man who chases 2 rabbits catches none. Anyone can pretty much accomplish anything if they're willing to pay the price. Chances are you aren't going to be able to master the kazoo and build a multi-million-dollar sock business and get 8-pack abs and become a grandmaster of kung fu all at once. That's the reality of it, man. Determine what's most important to you and settle on it and put all of your creative energy into it. This is the only way that you're going to be able to put yourself in the ranks of the 1% who succeed. Step 4. Now you've got to put it into practice. You got to do it. Do it, man. As in today, write out a plan. Tomorrow, I'm going to do a hard dopamine detox and I'm going to figure out what's most important to me. I'm going to figure out the one thing that I need to do. And I'm going to put all of my creative energy, eliminating all distractions towards that thing because I want to master the kazoo. Thanks for watching. The goal of this channel is to change the culture for the better. I hate depression, I hate anxiety, and I love to see people win. Contribute to the cause by liking, commenting, and subscribing. It really does help with the YouTube algorithm. Thank you. And join the fam by adding me on Instagram and TikTok at JONAH, JONAH.BIGFISH. JONAH.BIGFISH. BIGFISH.